Hi, it's question and answer Saturdays. And I've got 3 questions, so that's great. I'm going to start with the question from Alexa Pierce. Could you tell us a bit about what the area you live in is like? I live in a very populated area but feel very isolated. It's difficult for me because most people don't understand my anxiety, panic, and depression. It makes me feel like an inferior person, and I hate this loneliness. Alexa, you are not an inferior person. Lots of people suffer from anxiety, panic, and depression, and they feel isolated. I live in a very dense area. I live in the city of Edmonton, and it's got about 600 people in the city, and in the surrounding areas included, it's about 1,000 people. 1,000,000 people, pardon me. And it's very dense, and I too feel very isolated. I don't have a lot of friends. I don't have a lot of contacts. For me, it's shyness. I just don't know how to approach people. So I have schizoaffective disorder, which is bipolar disorder and schizophrenia mixed up. And it makes it very hard to approach people. So I know what you're going through. And one of the things you can do is to join a group for people with mental illnesses. We have the Canadian Mental Health Association here, and you probably have something similar there, where they have activities for people with mental health disorders, and they have groups that meet and get to know each other, and coffee clubs and that sort of thing. And that may help you to make some friends. And I would really encourage you to look for that, because that will help you make some friends. But I do know what it's like, because I'm very, very isolated in this very big city. Now, I'm going to move my comments over to the next page that the comments are on.
Boost. It's about...
And Abigail Mitchell asks, "Hi Alex, what was it that caused your eating disorder?" And this is a complicated question, but I've had 39 years to think about it, and I know what it was. My father was 360 pounds, and he was raping me. And my mother was grossly overweight, and she was abusing me. And my sister was grossly overweight, and she was abusing me. And my brother was grossly overweight, and he wasn't doing anything to help. And my family were all overweight, and they weren't doing anything to help. And I felt like I had to not be like them. And I felt like I had to disappear. And I started to get sick from fat people, and that sounds terrible, but it was what it was. I felt like fat people would hurt me. And I know how prejudiced that sounds and how terrible that sounds, but it was a child's logic. And I felt like I had to disappear as well to get away from this. And so I started starving myself. I started eating less. I started coming up with magical allergies. I started just engaging in anorexic behavior. And my mother didn't realize it because she wasn't paying enough attention to my basic needs. And when I said I wanted to be a vegetarian, I did offer for moral purposes, but I also did because I wanted to eat less meat, because I wanted to lose weight. And my mother thought, oh, she'll go back to eating meat in no time. So she said, okay, but I'm not cooking you anything else. And so instead of making it healthy vegetarianism, it was just me eating vegetables. And it was great because I lost a ton of weight. And my mother didn't seem to care. And so it was great, so it helped me along. You know, in my mind, it was great. It really wasn't. While I was in boarding school, I quit for a year and went to modeling school. And they kept telling me I was too fat. And I kept losing weight. And eventually that ended nowhere good. But I just kept losing weight, and they weren't noticing. And it was because of my father raping me and being so big, and my family being so big and abusing me, that I lost the weight, that I started into anorexia. I was fearful of fat people. And now I realize, my fear was unfounded, but it doesn't change the basic eating disorder. It's there. And we have another question. We have a question from Kimmy S. How do you think your life would be different if you never had an eating disorder? Obviously, there are good things that you would be blessed with had this horrible illness never entered your life. But do you think in any ways it has shaped you into who you are, as in making you stronger in some ways? I am just curious because I know there are pros and cons to my eating disorder, things it has kept me from doing, but it has also given me an understanding for all types of mental illness and addiction, and I have more compassion for people with mental illness because of it. And Kimmy, that's very insightful. I think it's given me compassion. I think it's also given me awareness of what can happen and how things can go really wrong. That mental illness isn't just like my schizoaffective disorder. It can be food. It can be as simple as food. And that we have to have compassion for all people. And I think if I'd never had this eating disorder, I think I would have gone farther. But I don't think I'd be so compassionate. I might be because of my disabilities, but I don't know that. I think it's one of the things that's taught me a lot of compassion. I think I might have had the wherewithal to go further, but I don't think I'd have compassion. I don't think I'd have a good understanding of people and their needs. I don't think I'd have clarity of what happens to people. So I think I'm a friendlier person because of it. Even if I can't make friends, I'm a friendlier person because of it. So that is question and answer Saturday. And let's hope we get even more questions next week. Let's aim for 5 and see what we can do. And remember, if you're new to the site or you're just lurking, please hit that subscribe button. We need subscribers. Okay, thank you. Remember, hit the subscribe. Bye-bye.